Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. And today we are going to cover Vanity Weight 2.0, who the singer is going to be, what it's going to be about, what's going to happen. And here, as you can see, I have an amalgamation of all my eras. I have this Vanity 2.0 era represented with this, Tortured era, Super Morbid era, Smo Eras Tour, Vanity Weight Crown, and Brat, Britishy Georgie, Jumpa. Okay? So we're going to talk about all of it. For those of you guys who are new to the channel, you're probably like, what the fuck is he even talking about? What the actual hell is going on here? But for those of you guys who have been around forever, y'all get it. Y'all get it. So we're going to talk about it today, okay? So I am starting Vanity Weight 2.0 tomorrow on February 19th. So I thought it was important to tell you guys what was going on. I haven't put this wig on in forever, and oh my God, it's so in my face again. But anyways, I wanted to tell you guys what I was doing and also basically launch the era. This is going to have a different launch because it's not as different from the Lana era. Or from Vanity 1.0. It's Vanity 2.0. So it's kind of just a transition into another phase rather than like a hard launch like in other eras. So we're going to talk about it now. So Vanity Weight 2.0, how I'm approaching it. More flexible, more fun, more shallow, easier. This era will be very long. So that's one thing. It is longer because it's slower. February 19th to October 24th of 2026 is how long this era will go on. This era is most focused on body recomposition, with downsizing being a secondary goal. Okay, so that's important to differentiate. The goals are different. When you reach a certain point in Vanity, it's not as much about the scale anymore. It's more about just how you look, which that has a lot to do with the actual composition of your body. So I'm going to be focusing on that, and I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to be focusing on that in different ways, okay? So this is how it's going to look. There are 2 12-week cycles with around 2 months of maintenance in between. 8 weeks is at a 1 pound per week deficit. Then there's a 4-week reverse diet, increasing 125 calories each week. So it'll be, around 500 cal def. I have to be kind of careful because Anita. So I have to be careful of how I talk about it because of Nita. But anyways, but yeah, that's how it will work. So basically, half the year is in somewhat of a cycle, and then the rest of the year is in maintenance, okay? So the the 2 cycles will be strategically timed around the times of the year that I personally have an easier time adhering. So for me, that has a lot to do with the spring equinox time. So basically the month before and the month after, it's the easiest. And then the time after my birthday, which that just makes sense because obviously my birthday is my thing. And summer is easier to downsize in for me. When it's really hot, it's kind of easier, but it's not the summer solstice. The solstices tend to be tricky, I believe, for most people, just because the extreme in weather, it really, your body has to adapt to it. So it can be tricky. So some people will say, I do better. They'll say, I do better at winter solstice than summer solstice. Some will say the opposite. I think it just depends on you, but either way, it's more challenging in my opinion, in my experience, and what I've seen other people do. It's harder. I think it makes sense, especially if you have extreme weather in your area, then it makes a lot of sense. If you have a really temperate climate all the time, or the weather's the same all year round, then I don't think it'll be a big issue either way. Okay. So The first cycle will be from February 19th to April 16th, then reverse diet until May 14th. So the whole thing is February 19th to May 14th. Then I will be in maintenance until August 1st. So that's going to be a lot easier for me. Typically, I'm really struggling in June. Like, I was mid-sized princess, the wig. I was mid-sized princess in June last year, and it was a lot. It was a lot. Okay. So it was tough. June is usually really hard, and December is usually really hard. Those are the two really hard times for me, typically. December is so hard I can't adhere most of the time, which is why I strategically was, going up this past December, and it worked. I was able to do it that way. This year, no, not even playing with that. So as you can see here, the second cycle will be from August 1st to September 26th, then reverse diet, I don't know why it says hell, till October 24th. So I will be completely done before Halloween, and that's before any of the holidays, which will be great. It will definitely help lift my spirits because I had to do a lot of stuff during the holidays this year or this past year, and I hated it so much, and it made me so angry. So very angry. So that is a way to prevent that because it's just really annoying. And we're taking into account feelings during this era. It is important for this. So, okay. I will not be weighing in. This is very controversial, I'm certain. It will freak people out. This is very, very non-TR. This is like aggressively non-TR. But I will not be weighing in during this entire process. I might not even weigh in the whole year. I might just do that just to do an activistic point, just to be a huge bitch. So maybe I should do that. You know what? I think I just decided that now. I'm not weighing in. I'll weigh in on October 25th. That's when I'll weigh in, okay? That's going to really piss people off, but I kind of love it. I just decided that. I'm like, you know what? I'm not weighing in. Period. So I will count the cows for a 1 week per loss, then adjust it down each week as if I've lost that pound. I will then do a reverse diet until I reach maintenance of a 10-pound downsizing, and then stay there until the next cycle. This way, if the goal isn't quite hit, it will eventually be hit, even if it's very slowly. So I'm expecting to downsize around 20 pounds throughout all of 2026, if that makes sense. So 10 pounds each cycle. I will then do a reverse diet until I reach maintenance of a 10-pound loss and then stay there until the next cycle. Okay, and then I'll have to decide if I want to continue at the end of the year, but it would be next year that I would be continuing at that point. I would not be for the holidays. No way in hell. This way, I already read that. This way, let's see. It will also reduce the distraction of the scale, and I can focus more on my vanity goals. My weight is not life or death anymore, and it really doesn't matter. So I do want to show that too. Like, it doesn't matter after a certain point, and I think I'm there. I think I earned the right to be like this. There's a hint for you, but I did. I earned the right to be like this. Okay. I want to show caloric realism in real time, and that weighing oneself is not the determinant of downsizing. It's calories. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just not going to weigh in, period, and take the scale out of my room. And I think my mom wants to use it anyways. I will let her use it. I'm not using it. Stick out the tongue. I'm not using it. It's going to piss people off, but I love it. Okay. So, diet-wise, I will be eating more starches than I did previously and be completely unconcerned with bloating and water weight fluctuations since I'm not using the scale to determine my calories. Tons of hydration, tons of fiber, some grains to fuel difficult workouts. So I had to be super strict in the years prior to this because my downsizing journey was very like life and death. And it was very much like I needed to track like what level of obesity I was at and this kind of stuff. I don't have to do that anymore. So I'm going to take that weight off of me because I have to focus on a lot of stuff this year. There's a lot of activistic stuff I need to do. And I want to have more of a life. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to get my shit together because it's just crazy. Like last year was just crazy. I know it was crazy for everybody, but it was really like, I just can't. I cannot do that again. I just can't. Okay. Like I need to have more balance in my life. Like I was so disciplined and so determined and so strict. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that again. But I had to be in the years prior to that too, because again, when you're tracking obesity, you're tracking this kind of stuff, you're kind of running against the clock a little bit. It's just different. This is like a cute version. I don't have to do all that. And so I want to really show that and really blatantly do that by not weighing in at all, you know? But I'll just show pics and stuff as I go throughout the year. Anyways. Okay. Workouts. My workouts will stay the same. Oh, so anyways, I was trying to say I had to be really strict. So I would often like eat the same things before weighing in. And I had to like make sure I didn't have fiber and stuff. I didn't want anything that was like going to differentiate things because I wanted to know purely what was my body so that I could track how much I needed to do, put to that way. I wanted it to be really, really strict because I wanted it to be as quick as it could be, as safely as it could be, as quickly as it could be. I don't have to do that this year, so I'm just going to kind of go for it. And if I want to be a bloater and eat like tons of potatoes one day, I'm going to do it. You know, if I want to have a bunch of rice, I'm going to have a bunch of rice. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be more starches for sure during this era. Okay. Workouts. My workouts will stay the same, 4 days a week, building and maintaining as much muscle as possible during the shallow cut, 2 leg days, 2 arm days, 3 days of 20-minute cardio. So I'm going to continue my workouts that I took on during my anhedonia maintenance phase moment. I'm going to go ahead and keep that going. So it's things like deadlifts. It's things like the leg press. It's things like, you know, I do like decline bench press, stuff like that. It's all of that stuff. So it's a lot of like more technical workouts. Definitely gym bro-ish, you know? So it's more serious workouts. And you're more able to do that because it's more of a shallow deficit. So it's easier to do. But yeah, that's basically the goal this year is to continue the workouts and try to build as much muscle as I can and try or to maintain it during the cuts, then build during maintenance, right? So just continue that because it won't be a very long downsizing journey. It's only really the 8 weeks. It's pretty short. The body can barely, your body is fine for 12 weeks. After that, then it's like, you know, then you're like, girl, you know, but a deficit less than that, you're fine. You're fine. You're going to be okay. So, you know, unless if you're like doing too much, I'll put it to you that way. But yeah, so a typical person, 8 weeks is very, it's very easy. It's easy, I'm gonna be honest. Easy. Okay. So, I'm not expecting anhedonia or low dopamine or any other harsher side effects of downsizing. So I don't think I'm not going to be estrogen-y, not going to be serotonin-y, not going to be low dopamine, not going to be anhedonia. I don't see any of that happening. It's not long enough deep enough for that to occur. I'm not going from being super morbidly obese to, class 1 obese. Like, there's not going to be these drastic changes. I'm not going to have another tortured era 2.0. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be like I have all of these crazy hormone fluctuations. And even within Vanity 1.0, I'm not going to have like some of those hormone crashes I had where it was so deep that it changed the way my brain worked and stuff. I don't think that's going to happen. So the intention is for that not to happen during this era. But I'm not expecting it. I don't think so, because this is very, very light. For people who have actually done this, you know how light this actually is. This is not hard to do. What I'm planning on doing is not difficult whatsoever. It really isn't. Like in terms of how difficult it could be, no, it's not. Okay. This is a less serious phase with not as long deficits nor as difficult. It's time to show an easier way on the channel for those that need to take it slow. It's meant to show a vanity weight era that is done in the background. So I want to show that because I want it to be accessible to everybody. So I think that that's a huge activistic point that I can make this year. And I want to show you guys that basically and show you this method. Okay. So who is the singer? Kesha. Kesha Soares. No, I'm just kidding. It's Kesha. Why? Many reasons. She represents the extroverted quality I'm looking for. Vanity 2.0 is very much about communal effort and exploring how connections with others can help or hinder the process of a vanity weight era. We will also discuss how fat acceptance functions as a collective and how we resist that together. So we're going to be talking a lot about the zombies because they are a horde. And I already know what my character is for the Kesha era. Oh my gosh, it's so weird to say that. But yeah, we're in it. We're in the Kesha era now, okay? So basically, I'm going to show that character later, though. When I do my first video, when I talk about the state of war of anti-FA, which it's going to be very detailed and long, and I have to really talk about it in that one. So it's going to be a minute. It'll probably be at some point in April, either late. I'm just going to be gay. I want it out in Aries season because that's the sign of war. So I'm going to put it out at some point during that time. But anyways, so yeah, let's continue. Vanity 2.0 is very much about communal effort and exploring how connections with others can help or hinder the process of the Vanity Weight era, blah, blah. Okay. Also, like her period album, which is her newest album, this era lacks an identity. So I've felt this way a lot as I've started to approach this era. But it lacks an identity in the sense that it's a blend of all the other eras, combining everything I've learned about downsizing throughout the years. So I'm trying to synthesize everything so that I can teach you guys things about it too. So we're going to do a lot of stuff. Like I'll probably do some Reddit videos or talk about, maybe even ask you guys if you guys want me to, like if you want to ask me downsizing advice questions, I might do Q&As, things like that, where I can talk to you about it and try to answer your questions or give advice on it because I've been doing it for years and I have all these eras under my belt, you know? So it's like a way of combining it all too. So that's why I'm dressed this way. So let's talk about what it has of each era. It has the strategy, the seasonal aspects and planning of the Smo Eras Tour, which is the witch hat that I'm wearing. It's represented by the witch hat. The grayness of a tortured era, which is these flowers. When I was doing my But Daddy, I Love Him look. So it has the grayness of a tortured era as you are going in and out of the downsizing. So you have to think gray. So it's more flexible, right? And not weighing yourself during the process. So it's like, is it working? Is it working? I don't know. You got to have the faith, right, of a tortured era. So there's a little bit of that grayness, that faith, because you're not weighing in. And you are phasing in and out. So that can be challenging. But we're doing it. So it has that quality to it. It has the social integration of a small fat era. So that's this hoodie, this jumper, if you will. But remember, the small fat era is really split into two. So there's a brat era for some, and then there's like a demure, which is more like a Sabrina, short and sweet. So it depends on your personality. For me, I'm a brat, as you can tell. So, but what those eras have in common is that they're really about sociability. It's really about reintegrating into society as you're downsizing. Like if you started really, really big, when you become small fat, you can really connect with other people easier. So there's a lot of social issues that come up in that era. So this Vanity Weight 2.0, it has that social integration aspect. So it's, can I bring my disciplined lifestyle to an outing with the friends? Can I bring it to the party? Can I bring it on a trip? We're going to talk about that. So because you have more cows to work with, you have the added flexibility, which makes it easier to stick to within social gatherings and vacations. So it makes it more possible because it's like, okay, I have more to work with, right? And whether that's like, I'm going to go to maintenance on this trip or whatever, you can kind of just like mix it up. It's more like, it's just very flexible, but still disciplined. Because remember, when you're doing vanity, when you're in a vanity weight era, you can't just go for it. That's just not possible. You can't. You still have to stick to it. You got to be kind of strict because your margins are very thin. So just be aware of that, okay? But yeah, whether you want to go up to maintenance for the trip or for the day or whatever, that's the kind of thing that you could do in a Kesha era. That's the kind of thing you could do in Vanity 2.0. It's easier. It's more flexible. So we're going to talk about that stuff, okay? It has the whiny energy of a mid-sized princess, which is the wig, as well as a little bit of revenge body and athletic competition. So this era does have a little bit of that, aspect, a little bit of that attitude, a little bit of that fuck the haters, Kesha herself has a lot of songs about the haters and how dare people talk shit about me, So she has a lot of that. So there is some MSP energy, which you guys have picked up on it. It's there, but it's not the dominant force. It's just, there's a touch. Okay. There's some attitude in it, which I think you do need a little bit of that because you need that boundary. You still have to have boundaries with other people, especially if you're going to be more social. So if somebody is like, you're doing too much, or I don't want you to do that, we're going to talk about it. How do you fight that back? If you're dealing with a zombie in the wilds, how do you deal with them, right? We're going to talk about that stuff, okay? And lastly, it has the discipline and spiritual qualities of Vanity Era 1.0, as well as the self-direction. So remember, within Vanity, you're always self-directed. It is your goal, and you're staying within a healthy range, but it is your goal personally, your personal goal. So you're listening to yourself, okay? And then there's still going to be some spiritual aspects. I don't think it's as deep as the Lana era was. It's more so emotional work. We're going to talk a lot about emotional work, which that's still spiritual work, but it's a little bit, it's not like deep subconscious or like deeply intellectual. It's more about emotions and dealing with our emotional reactions within discipline. We're going to talk about that too, which I think is really important. So that is also an aspect of Vanity Era 1.0 that is represented in this era. So let's talk about what this era adds. What this era adds to the equation: extroversion, optimism, and confidence, okay? Shaped by experience, self-trust, and no longer abandoning your goals while still fully functioning socially in life. So that's a big thing, because at this stage, you're healthy. You're healthy. You're able to do everything that you want to do. This is a way to do vanity downsizing within a full life, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about, because some people need that. So this is going to be, I do want to talk about like with people that have kids and stuff like that. I want to interview a mother, and she knows who she is, Lexi. Calling her out, but I want to talk about that stuff because this is the kind of thing that I think would be needed for somebody that's a parent and stuff like that, like where you have a lot of stuff going on. So we want to talk about that. It's for people that are very busy, active, have a lot going on, right? So yeah. So you still have to be able to function. You have to be able to function socially. You have to be able to stick to your obligations, right? It also celebrates the finer things in life and promotes achieving all of your dreams and obligations at once, because you don't have to entirely focus on downsizing like you would in a deep cut or long haul weight loss, okay? So we're going to talk about that too. Like, how do we indulge in ways that are safe, that are not food? Because we need to talk about that too, because there's a lot of aspects that are not really talked about with vanity weight. There is a lot of attitudes towards it that's just like, you just suffer, which I do think that that is an approach. But I want to talk about, what if we don't want to suffer? Or how do we alleviate it? Or how do we make it easier? So we're going to talk about that kind of stuff. Like, how do we get in touch with these things, or use hobbies, or use simple pleasures that are safe and effective at providing a sense of indulgence without cows. Okay? So we're going to talk about that stuff. And it's kind of like an attitude towards the journey that I want to share and talk about. Lastly, I'm specifically choosing Kesha because she is as millennial as they come. And this generation, my generation, needs to be discussed because we are both the disaster and possible solution to this issue. Most fat acceptance activists with institutional power are millennials. It's important to remember that. It is on us in large part. It really is. So we have to talk about why this issue is so terrible in the millennial generation and how to effectively fight it. I think I used the wrong effective, but whatever. I don't know if I did or not. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know why that bothered me. But regardless, we need to talk about how to fight it. I want to empower Gen Zs to fight millennials with this issue too. I want to tell you guys some stuff and get into it. Okay, we're going to get into it because it's bad. And millennials, at our worst, we're incredibly stubborn about stuff that's failing. So that's really hard. So a lot of millennials, they will go hard for FA. They will go hard for it till the bitter end. So we have to talk about that. And we need to talk about where it came, like why it hit us so well. You know, like it's crazy. It's crazy how well it took to our generation. So I just want to talk about that and explore that. So the fact that she's so millennial, it does play into it. Because some people might think like, oh, she's kind of irrelevant. Why are you talking about her? That's why. Because she's very indicative of my generation. And I think that we need to talk about it. Oh, gosh, I swear. So yeah. Kesha herself represents the escapism and irresponsibility of the millennial generation very well. She also carries that youthful spirit that I think will be great to bring to a downsizing era. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot of reasons why I chose her, because it's the attitude, but it's also the versatility of her. It's also the millennialness, right? And she has a lot of good qualities of millennials and a lot of bad qualities of millennials. So I think that she just represents what I'm trying to accomplish in this era very well. And that's why I chose her. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I wanted to just let you guys know what was coming, let you guys know what's happening. And I wanted to dress totally ridiculous. So I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.